Hello again and welcome inside UNC Charlotte. This university makes an impact by solving problems in our region and beyond. With the urban land-grant university model, UNC Charlotte quite frequently takes a lead role in addressing the major issues that affect our city, region, state, and nation. We take our research and expertise into the world. We see it on many levels. For instance, we've launched our second early college high school in partnership with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. This one is a magnet school to begin to prepare next generation teachers beginning in the 9th grade. It joins our successful early college high school in engineering. It's become fairly common knowledge that UNC Charlotte's multidiscipline impact in data science, in partnership with industry and businesses throughout the region, helps to position Charlotte as a big data hub in the United States. In another of many examples of engagement, for more than 5 years now, researchers from UNC Charlotte have been studying ways to address the environmental hazards created by coal ash, the byproduct of coal-burning electricity production. It's one of the largest forms of industrial waste generated in the United States. The largest electrical utility in the United States, Duke Energy, is headquartered here in our city, and the university partners with Duke on several initiatives. Joining us for an update on UNC Charlotte's work in coal ash is John Daniels. Professor Daniels, a civil engineer, has been at the fore of the university's service in this area. And John, welcome.
Thanks, good to be here.
All right, well, you and your colleagues have now several years under your belts in exploring the issues around coal ash contamination. And as we speak now, you're nearing the 3-year mark in providing national leadership, of a panel of independent experts advising Duke Energy on coal ash storage. In our moments together, I'd like to focus on your work, the university's work and progress in those areas. But first, I think it would be helpful for many of us if we just touch base again on exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about coal ash. What is it, and what have we learned about the problems it's created in our environment?
Sure, well, if you think about coal ash, it comes from coal. Coal is part of the energy mix in creating electricity. It's a declining fraction of it. However, because of historical use of coal, we've got lots of leftover coal ash. And so if you think about it, coal, of course, is mostly carbon. And when you burn it, you're left with that fraction which is not carbon, the inorganic fraction. So that's really what we're talking about. You can think of a mental image of the ash left in a fireplace. I mean, this is essentially what we're talking about.
This is a good time as more years have passed since we last spoke. Tell me some of the recent developments in the work. Sure.
Well, in general, when you think about coal ash, and you've got so much of this stuff, ideally we can reuse it responsibly. So at a high level, the research has focused on making it a better material, a material that is stronger, a material that can be more easily incorporated into concrete. These are the high-level strategies that myself and others have focused on. A lot of my research, if you look over the past decade or so, is focused on how can we reduce leachability? How can we reduce that which becomes environmentally mobile? And so a technology that has really fascinated me at this point for the past 10 years has been rendering ash water repellent. What I would point to as an accomplishment of our research up to this point, the research that's been funded by the Environmental Research and Education Foundation, is our ability to document more accurately what's called the contact angle. So anyone can appreciate the contact angle if you take, for example, the water that I've got right here, and if I were to, I won't, but if I were to spill it here and you would see the water bead up, you can measure the angle at which that angle beads up on the surface. And so that angle is an indication of how difficult it is for the water to penetrate.
Sure.
So of course the water doesn't want to penetrate this table. The similar approach would apply with soil if you're trying to make that water repellent, or coal ash, try to make that water repellent. So what we've come up with is that there's lots of different techniques. The literature is replete with examples of how do you actually measure contact angle. It turns out that the way you measure that depends on what you're measuring. And coal ash, given its properties, is somewhat unique and requires a different method. And so we've come up with a way to measure that contact angle that is far more accurate, almost by an order of magnitude. So if you can measure the contact angle more accurately, then you can, with greater confidence, design with it. So that was one of our contributions that was published in a peer-reviewed journal this year, actually.
All right. We're speaking with John Daniels of UNC Charlotte, a member of our engineering faculty. And it was about 3 years ago that you were asked to chair and pull together and essentially manage what amounts to a blue ribbon committee of experts from around the country on coal ash related issues. And maybe for starters, give us an idea of who all is a part of that group, because it involves experts from various institutions, including some leading colleague research universities around the country as well. Tell us a little bit about the composition of the group.
So we've had membership from Georgia Tech with Professor Susan Burns, and Ohio State University with Professor Bill Wolf, and Bucknell University. We've got folks recently that we've added, Richard Kinch, who spent 41 years at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and was the chief architect of the latest regulation dealing with coal ash, has joined the board as well. And so really we have a board that reflects a mix of academic expertise, we've got government expertise, and as you said, this comes from all across the country. And the idea is to bring the best expertise to bear on an issue that is certainly relevant to us. But in many respects, the work that we're doing here is also able to provide assistance to the industry more generally.
Well, I can recall many other interviews here on Inside UNC Charlotte when we've spoken with our faculty members and students who are in the community sharing their experience and their expertise and their research, again, as we said at the outset, to solve problems. And so this sounds overall like just another example of a perfect fit. I mean, we have the Urban Research University that is UNC Charlotte, and this issue that is around us. And maybe as a closing thought, your work in coal ash, is there ever such thing as an end, or is this mitigating the impact of this contaminant in a way that's satisfactory and effective and excellent? Will you get there?
Yeah, gosh, that's a great point. So to me, the future is really about, let's try to move beyond some of the consequences that we now live with. Let's try to clean those up as best we possibly can, doing it as an environmentally responsible way as we can. And then also with that ash that's there, let's try to use it, whether it's beneficial use, whether it's identifying how can we best manage this material and ultimately restore those sites such that they become community assets. And I think that's something that we see in the horizon.
Well, we will look forward to speaking with you again and again on Inside UNC Charlotte and other avenues here at the university about your work. And we appreciate you, John Daniels, coming by again this time, and we appreciate you putting us on your screens as well. And we will look forward to more from you and more from the university to share with all of you. So thank you for watching, and thank you for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.